right. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Steve Hayes. I'm with Allsafe Industries, and I really appreciate everyone that took the time to jump on the call today. Let me start by starting with a quick introduction. We have several customers that have joined us today, customers that we talk to frequently, weekly, monthly, every year. We have customers that maybe are connecting to us that haven't been with us for a minute. And we have brand new customers. And so I just wanted to provide a quick introduction about Allsafe Industries, just so we're all starting from the same page. We are a veteran-owned small business. We're centrally located in Louisville, Kentucky, and we've been a RAE Systems distributor since 1998. This is back in the day when no one had even heard of RAE Systems. And now, of course, it's one of the leading gas detection manufacturers. As everyone knows, it has been acquired by Honeywell. Honeywell has the RAE Systems line and the BW Technologies line. And today we are talking about the new software and transitioning from what you may be using today, ProRAE Guardian, into the new Safety Suite software. So we're going to talk about that today. This is not new. We've made a transition like this before. Customers that have been using RAE Systems for a very long time might remember back to the ProRAE remote days. And then in 2012, ProRAE Guardian came out. So we have navigated a software transition before. And here we are again. We're going to do it again, transitioning over to Safety Suite Responder. So thanks again for joining us. One more note about Allsafe, technical safety equipment is our pure focus. We provide sales and service. We make custom kits for the instrumentation you purchase from us. We have training and content available, and our commitment to you is lifetime product support. So that's why we wanted to put this webinar on today, to really explain to everyone what this transition is and what you can expect. If you would, post your questions to the chat window. If we answer those questions along the way, great. Any questions that we don't answer along the way, we'll try to tackle at the end of the webinar. And if you stump the band, we're going to chase that answer down for you. We met with the Honeywell software engineers about 3 weeks ago and got a briefing right here at our headquarters in Louisville. And so we've really been studying the information so that we could provide some good detail to you today. So let's get started. So our outline today is, why is this important? Why do we need to be talking about this now? How are we going to transition from ProRAE Guardian to Safety Suite Responder? And what's the same and what's different about the two programs? What are the steps involved? How are you going to make this decision for yourself and your organization? What we can do for you along the way. And again, anytime you have a question, just post that to the chat window. We want to make sure that everyone that joined us today gets their questions answered. So let's start off with the why. Why is this important? Why are we here? The most important detail I can mention is time. ProRAE Guardian is no longer available. It ended sales at the end of 2021, and the end of support is at the end of this year. Now, let me start by saying, if you want to continue using ProRAE Guardian, you can certainly do that. As I mentioned, support will end at the end of the year, and as long as the program works, by all means, keep using it. There's a couple things to consider there. Is if something changes in Windows, if something changes with Google, then the software could develop a glitch or maybe even stop working altogether. And Honeywell is not going to address those issues because they are looking forward to Safety Suite. So if you want to continue to use ProRAE Guardian, you can certainly do that. But the other big why here is money. So just like when we transitioned from ProRAE Remote to ProRAE Guardian, if we have users on the call that have been using the program that long, if you'll remember, they had a loyalty program. And you could make that jump to ProRAE Guardian at a greatly reduced price, and the same is true here. For early adopters of Safety Suite Responder, you're going to get the software at 5-year no-cost upgrade. That is huge. That is going to save your organization thousands of dollars. Again, it's your choice, but I would highly recommend that you seriously consider this upgrade because of that 5-year no cost. It's really going to save you some money. And it is a limited time offer. Currently, this offer expires on June 30th. Now, notice I put an asterisk at the end of that because we talked to Honeywell and we said, listen, a lot of our customers are municipal customers and their budget cycles are from July 1 to June 30. And so there may be some budgetary constraints where people cannot make that jump by June 30th. And so we've got some concessions that we may be able to get some folks in after the fact, but let's just take it for face value. At this time, the limited time offer to make that 5-year no cost upgrade ends on June 30th. So let's do what we can to make those decisions after you hear the information that we're presenting today on this webinar. So next, we're going to talk about how ProRAE Guardian and Safety Suite Responder are the same and different. So what's the same about the programs? Well, they both connect to the number of Honeywell wireless instruments available on your current product license. If you have a product license today that can see 8 instruments, then you're going to be able to see 8 instruments on your upgraded Safety Suite Responder. Meters are plotted onto a map with GPS data or the wireless location data from your Wi-Fi or your hotspot. The data is provided in real time for all sensors, so that's not going to change. You'll see those real-time readings as they happen on your instruments on your screen. You're still going to have a dashboard and alerts that look and sound the same as what you're used to today. There's still the data sharing function to support interoperability and mutual aid. And there's still the plume modeling that we can do. In fact, the plume modeling is now baked into Safety Suite Responder. This is what the dashboard looks like. So it should be, for our ProRAE Guardian users, look very familiar. Here's your map window, just in the same exact location that you see it in ProRAE Guardian. Here's your device window that you see in ProRAE Guardian. Here is your data graphs for each instrument. So you can click on a meter down here in the device tab, and then you'll see the data in graphical form up here in this window, just like ProRAE Guardian. One change here is now this is a data log window, not a systems window, because this new software connects so easily, we really don't need a systems window down here in the corner. And then I also really like the menus that they have. Instead of across the top like before, they're down the side, and you can shrink this down to just be icons once you've become familiar with the software, or you can open this up and see that there's a dashboard, there's a historical data tab, asset management, which is the instruments you're connecting to, user management, the people that are using the instruments. This is useful for industrial customers as well, so you'll see some features here that support that. Here's your gateway tab, because there will be a gateway installed on your computer that's running Safety Suite Responder. Details of your organization, and then reports. So very familiar dashboard, same what you've been used to using ProRAE Guardian. So let's talk a little bit about how these programs are different. First of all, Safety Suite Responder can be downloaded to your PC, which we're going to refer to as an on-premises installation, or it can run from the cloud. So we could run this software right through the internet. Safety Suite Responder requires a gateway on your PC with very specific hardware requirements and Windows 10. Again, this would be the on-premises installation. Each instance will require a dedicated name and email address for the account setup or login. So this is very important and something to consider. If you use your personal email, that account is tied to you. Our recommendation is to create a general use email that would be good for anyone on your hazmat team on any shift. Typically, we see our customers putting labels on their laptops anyway for the username and the password. So we just need to share that data amongst everyone on your team so that we know the name and the email that your Safety Suite Responder software would be tied to. So that's an important detail to work out in advance. And then the device management software is baked in as well with a few new features. Incident playback, really cool feature. You can click on a data log file. It will actually play the incident back for you, so you can see what the readings were in real time. There's a geo-fencing feature, which is really cool. So you could geo-fence the hot zone And then when a worker or a responder goes into that area, you're gonna get an alert on the dashboard that someone is now in that geo-fenced area, and many other new details. So think of the device management as your new ProRAE Studio 2, your maintenance software. So just be aware that that program will be going away as well, because you're going to be able to manage your instruments and see the real-time data in Safety Suite Responder. All right. So here's a slide with a lot of details. We're going to follow up with an email to everyone that's on the call today so that you'll see this presentation. So it may be small to read. So there are several features that are connected to Safety Suite. And you see the top portion is what they call the deluxe version of Safety Suite. And that's going to have all those device management features, such as sensor configuration and firmware upgrades or updates, which is automatic. Actually, the software will check every time you connect an instrument and see if the new firmware is there. So that's a nice feature. Event calibration and bump test reporting. We can even set those up to happen on an automatic basis, a scheduled basis. You can put user-defined fields in. You can do a bump test and calibration forecast to see what kind of maintenance you have coming up soon. All of those features under device management. And then if you go for the premium version of Safety Suite, that's where you pull in those real-time reading features. So when we look at this chart, you want to focus on the premium version, which is going to be most closely related to ProRAE Guardian, because you're pulling in those real-time monitoring features. So when you get the file, you'll be able to look at these details closer than on a slide on a presentation. And you can also see this same chart on the Honeywell website and on the Allsafe Industries website. Let's talk about the pricing for a little bit, because as you'll recall, for users that have been on RAE Systems since the beginning of RAE Wireless, ProRAE Remote was free. In 2012, it came out that you'd have to purchase ProRAE Guardian, but it was a one-time price. And when you paid that one-time price, now the software was yours and you didn't have to pay for it again. A Tier 3 product key to be able to see area rays on your ProRAE Guardian was $1,000 in the beginning. I think that price has gone up a little now, but in a round number is about $1,000. So if we do the math, here now in 2022, 10 years was about $100 a year for each of your area rays that would be connected to the ProRAE Guardian. Let's compare that to Safety Suite Real-Time or Responder. So I mentioned the real-time because that is the industrial version, and they actually have device management software that you can purchase for your industrial or your portable instruments that are only $25 a year. So for a little over $2 per meter per month, you're getting all the features and benefits of Safety Suite Real-Time. And then for our customers that are going to jump to Safety Suite Responder, after that 5-year loyalty period, the license keys will be $100 per meter per year, and there's no more tiers. So no more Tier 1, Tier 2, or Tier 3. It's just the basic license to be able to see a wireless instrument on Safety Suite Responder. And as of today, April 2022, that pricing is $100 per meter. Now, the interesting thing is there's a discount for multi-year purchases. So if you were to purchase a 5-year license key for your area rays, you actually get a 15% discount. So that turns out to show that Safety Suite Responder is less expensive than ProRAE Guardian, and we're 10 years down the road. So I think everybody, once you do the math, can be comfortable with that. The other thing to get comfortable with is that you're just going to have a software subscription that you'll have to pay for each year. But who's not doing that these days? I'm sure most people on the call are probably paying for their Amazon Prime, paying for their Apple Music, paying for their Netflix. So there's plenty of annual subscriptions that we're used to paying for, and this is just the way of the world that we live in today. So I think once you do the math and notice how many software subscriptions you're actually using, you'll get comfortable with the idea fairly quickly. I know I have. So then the biggest difference I wanted to point out that we've run into with Safety Suite Responder is the instruments that will connect to the software. So you'll recall in ProRAE Guardian, it would communicate with the first wireless meters that would connect with no preference to serial numbers whatsoever. If you turned on your area arrays first, then your ProRAE Guardian would connect to those. If your neighboring department or the county hazmat team would get their meters turned on first, your system would connect to their instruments. It was just the first wireless instruments that were connected. Safety Suite Responder is a little different in that it's dependent on setting the instrument status to either active or inactive. So let's imagine you have 100 instruments at your department, but only 10 of those are area arrays. You want to ensure that the 10 area arrays are set to active so that when you launch to get wireless data, you're going to see those. If you have some ToxiRAE Pros or some QRAE 3s in your fleet, for instance, and those are set to active, and then you go out on a hazmat response, you won't see the area arrays because they got bumped. They weren't set to active, or they're set as inactive because you were working on some other instruments. So you just want to stay focused on your asset management tab and make sure that the number of wireless instruments you want to see on screen are set to active. And then here's the kicker on that. In order to set and reset meters from inactive to active, you do need to be connected to the internet so that the software can communicate with the Honeywell servers. So you will want to make sure of that. I know in first responder world, we really want to be autonomous. We don't want to have to hit the internet. So we just want to make sure that we manage this active and inactive status appropriately. And then you'd be able to run the software on your laptop or on premise, as how they call it, and you'll be able to see the meters that you want to see. All right. Next, we want to talk about what are the steps involved to make this change. So first, you're going to want to verify that your PC, your computer, your laptop has 16 gigabytes of RAM, 500 gigabyte hard drive, and Windows 10. Those are the specifications in order to use Safety Suite Responder. Now you'll see I have an asterisk there at the end of the 500 gigabyte hard drive. When I loaded Safety Suite Responder on my own computer, it popped up a message and said, hey, you don't have 500 gigs of free space. All I need right now is 10, but we recommend 500. And I think the reason for that is over time, as you use this software, you're going to start using up the rest of that hard drive with all the data that you're collecting, all the imagery, all those playback files. So it's recommended for a 500 gig hard drive. It doesn't need it all up front, but that's what we're going to recommend as the specifications for the PC that you'll need to have or purchase in order to load this software. Then you want to make sure that your PC can connect to your wireless meters. And what we mean there is you still have your RAE Link 3 that you'll connect to a USB port. Then you'll need admin rights to that local computer so that you can load Safety Suite Responder and the required gateway. Now, if we have some IT folks on the line, don't mean to circumvent your security measures. Certainly don't want to do that. We don't want to invite any type of openings where hackers could get into your system. I understand why IT wants to keep things locked down and under control. For my first responders, my hazmat teams that just need to get out there and get the job done, this is why I've always recommended having one, what I call a rogue laptop, that you're not going to connect to your network. You're just going to use it to operate all the different pieces of equipment that need some sort of software support, like your area arrays and now Safety Suite Responder. Once you've got those three things figured out, then you're going to go to the website ss.safetysuite.honeywell.com. So ss.honeywell.com and request an account. And you can see what that screen looks like there. You can start with a trial, but if you've already gone through the decision-making process and you know you're moving forward, then you can go ahead and click I have a subscription key, and that step's covered next. Before we go there, I do want to point out that we can provide computers for you. As I mentioned, there are some very specific requirements to run Safety Suite Responder. It needs Windows 10, needs the 16 gigs of RAM, needs the 500 gig hard drive. And we've brought back the ruggedized computer. We're the exclusive supplier, the rugged laptop with the onboard radio. So this laptop has all the sealed keyboards, all the sealed ports, very rugged. In fact, we ship this just in a backpack because the computer itself is already rugged. So if you like that ruggedized, militarized laptop option, we can provide that for you. And if you just want to have a standard everyday laptop in a Pelican case, we can do that for you as well. So you've got options with Allsafe Industries to bridge the gap for this computer that you're going to need with certain specifications to run this software. Once all that is in place, then you're going to email your current ProRAE Guardian license to support.safetysuite@honeywell.com. Once you do that, oh, and by the way, if you're not sure where to pull your current ProRAE Guardian license key, I've put an image there for you. Go into ProRAE Guardian and you'll click on that yellow key in the top menu icons. Once you click on the yellow key, a window will pop up and that's where you'll see your license code. And really the best way to do it is just screenshot that and then include that in your email that you send to support.safetysuite@honeywell.com. They'll take that ProRAE Guardian license and then they'll upgrade it to a Safety Suite Responder license. And again, if you do that before June 30th, there's no charge for you for the next 5 years. Now, once you've made that decision, you only have 10 days to make the transition and then your ProRAE Guardian will stop working. So we put these presentation slides in order so that you can do the steps in the right sequence. Once you send that request email to convert your ProRAE Guardian license key to a product key for your Safety Suite Responder, you'll have 10 days to go ahead and make that happen. So make sure you inform your hazmat team. In a future webinar, we're going to dig a little deeper into the software, show you how to use it, show you how to set it up. But make sure we get all that done before you send that email so that because once you have done that, you have 10 days to make the change. And of course, we are here to help you. So you can contact our internal tech support team at tech@allsafeindustries.com, and we'll be happy to help you with those steps along the way. So how are you making this decision? So a few more slides just to kind of walk you through this, and then we can start looking at questions. So whether you're a municipal government agency, local fire department hazmat team, maybe you're an emergency response team at an industrial facility, first let's ask, are you able to use cloud software? The cloud software is really going to be your best option because it's always going to be the latest and greatest, but it requires that you have reliable internet connectivity. So you'll have to make that decision for yourself locally. Can you use cloud software? And can you reliably get to the internet? Also, will you need multiple instances of the software? Meaning, are you going to have multiple computers? And then are you going to want to share a single license key? Or are you going to want to have individual license keys for each of your computer instances? And remember, for every installation, for every computer, every installation, you'll need a name and an email that's unique to that. I had to do this myself. I had one version of the software connected to my email, steve@allsafeindustries.com, and then I had to create another general email just using Gmail or Outlook to create a secondary email just to be able to load a second instance on another computer. So keep that in mind as you're going through this decision-making process. And then again, this transition to Safety Suite is completely optional. But once you do make the choice, it can't be undone. Once you've made that commitment to exchange your ProRAE Guardian product key for a Safety Suite Responder license key, it can't go backwards. So again, I have a slide here with a lot of small writing. I apologize for that. When you get the copy of this presentation, you'll be able to read this in more detail, but this just outlines your choices here again. We have Safety Suite Real-Time, that's more for industrial customers, and you can make the choice to have that as an on-premises installation on your computer, on your server, or you can make the choice to run it from the cloud. For our fire departments and first responder customers, you would choose Safety Suite Responder because that's going to give you the live data. And once again, you have the choice, is it going to be an on-premise installation or is it going to be a cloud installation? And then finally, I wanted to mention the naming conventions. The Honeywell software team has been working on this project for about 3 years now, maybe even longer than that. And the names have changed along the way. So I just wanted to address this really briefly, because if you get out on the internet and you start doing some research about Safety Suite, you're going to run into several names. And we just want to try to make sure to mention all of those so that we can get you pointed in the right direction and try our best to eliminate some of the confusion with these different naming conventions. So for example, there was Safety Suite Device Configurator that replaced ProRAE Studio 2. We believe that's still available, even though that some of those functions are baked into the Safety Suite program that we're talking about today. There's Safety Suite Device Manager. There's Safety Suite Real Time, and there's Safety Suite Responder. So a lot of variations under this naming convention, but it looks like it's boiling down to, it's either going to be Safety Suite Deluxe or Premium, or Safety Suite Responder Deluxe or Premium. And once you've made that choice, you'll get comfortable with the names. To add to the confusion a little bit, there are also some mobile applications that you could download to your phone that use a little bit of the same names. So I just wanted to point those out as well. And I've included the app icon so you can see what those look like. You've got Device Configurator. So it sounds like Safety Suite Device Configurator, but it's just called Device Configurator. It's a mobile app that allows you to manage your portable gas detection from your phone. And then there's Safety Communicator, the mobile app that allows for connecting your personal safety device information to Safety Suite. And so that's just another path for wireless instruments to communicate back to Safety Suite, the program, through the mobile app Safety Communicator. So I don't mean to confuse you. I am basically giving you the names that we've been given by Honeywell, and that's where we are today. Wait, tomorrow they'll change it again. All right, getting down towards the end. What can we do for you? We've helped customers make this transition before, and we're prepared to do it again. You'll see the picture of the old Multi-Ray Plus and the old Area Ray, even before the Area Ray Steel. And we've successfully transitioned our customers over to the new Area Ray that comes in Plus or Pro versions, and the new Multi-Ray that comes in several versions. We have a dedicated team on sales, our service team, our training team. We have plenty of content to provide 100% product support from start to finish for all of your technical safety equipment. We value customer service greatly here, and we want to help you through this transition. So we hope that you'll lean on us for that. Finally, we just want to thank you for your time today. Your time is valuable. It's the most valuable thing we have. And so if we can help you, we would love to do that. You can email our sales team to start, sales@allsafeindustries.com. You can certainly call us toll free. That number spells out 8889 safety. And you can also check our website for new blog posts and such. So I'm going to leave it right here. My coworker Chase is going to go through some of the questions that have popped up in the chat window, and we'll see if we can't answer those on the fly. All right. So starting here. Very good. Are other brand detectors compatible with the software? Honeywell also owns BW Technologies, and so both RAE Systems instruments and BW instruments will communicate to Safety Suite. So yes, we can do multiple brands. Now, if you're talking about a brand that's not related to Honeywell, not at this time, but they do have a version of Safety Suite called the Software Development Kit. And so if another manufacturer wanted to embed their information into Safety Suite, they'd have to investigate that software developer kit to see if they can't make that happen. If we have 10 area rays, do we need 10 license keys? So you don't necessarily need 10 licenses. You would need one license that can see up to 10 instruments. And so if you have a ProRAE Guardian license that can see 10 instruments today, you'll exchange that one product key for a new license key, and it's going to be able to see 10 instruments as well. Great question. Data integration into federal and state common operation picture apps like Web EOC and ERMA. Honestly, I am not familiar with those apps, so I will need to research that question. You stumped the band with that one. I appreciate the question. It's going to give us a chance to learn and grow. So we'll chase that answer down for you and put that in our frequently asked question document that's going to go out with this email. And then what about using the Multi-RAE Pro linked with the mesh to Safety Suite Responder? Do you just need one license for the mesh? Example, 3 handhelds to the mesh. So the RAE 3 mesh does not count as one of your instruments because it's not providing sensor data itself. It's sending instrument data from whatever's connected to the RAE 3 mesh. So in your example, if you have 3 multi-rays that you want to communicate through a RAE 3 mesh, then your product key or your license key would need to be capable of seeing 3 live instruments. Again, if that's the way you're using ProRAE Guardian today, you have 3 wireless multi-rays and they connect through a RAE 3 mesh that's set up as a remote back to your RAE 3 mesh that's set up as a host. You'll be able to do the same when you make the transition to Safety Suite Responder, certainly. So can we share a single key? Good question. The key is going to be tied to the computer, and there are sharing options. So if you wanted to invest additional funds to expand your shared key, there's certainly ways we can do that. It's a great application for industrial customers that might have, 5 plants across the United States and headquarters wants to see their wireless data. You can certainly set up shared keys. We have several PowerPoint slides on sharing licenses, and I can provide that to you offline. I didn't want to pull it into this webinar because there's quite a few details on sharing, and I just wanted to briefly address the topic, but certainly we can share information and share licenses, and we can provide you more information on how to do that. Where are we?
So I asked about the cost of
the cost of the computers that we offer. It just varies. If you would start with an email to our sales team, and we can certainly price out both the ruggedized host and just a regular everyday laptop. If you already have a laptop, we can even provide you our empty Pelican case. It provides a pass-through charger that's going to give power to the laptop and to the RAE 3. So we have a brochure on the computer options that we have. And then if you'll request a quote from our sales team, they'll be glad to put that together for you so you can see those numbers. Great question. Thank you. Does the laptop have to connect wireless to the mesh, or do I still use the host hooked up to the computer by cable? Yes, you are still going to use your RAE 3 host radio to get the communications from all your wireless instruments. Of course, an area array can communicate directly back to your RAE 3 host. Your portable instruments like multi-rays, QRAE 3s, ToxiRAE Pros, they need to communicate through a RAE 3 set up as a remote. So if you didn't know, the new area arrays, I keep saying new, they're not so new anymore, but new area arrays have a RAE 3 built in. So you can connect a multi-ray to your area array, and then your area array will transmit its sensor readings and the readings of the multi-rays that are connected to it, and it's an 8-to-1 ratio. You can connect 8 portable instruments through an area array, or you can connect 8 portable wireless instruments to a RAE 3 set up as a remote. Great question. Were the PC hardware specs listed in the slides for a local install, a cloud install, or both? That is a good question. I'm thinking that that is going to be for a local install, but if you're using a cloud install, wouldn't you say, Chase, that that's just going to function as it should because it's pushing it through the cloud? Yeah, my coworker here and I were shaking our heads together. If you're running this software through the cloud, then you shouldn't be bound by those hardware requirements on your computer, because really you're just looking at a browser window. So as long as your computer is fast enough to keep up with changing information on a browser window, I wouldn't think that you need the same hardware specifications if you're just watching the information on a browser window, but we will ask the question to the Honeywell software engineers, and we'll put that in the FAQ that we send out to everyone. What's next? If I upgrade to the 5-year no cost, will all our meters be no cost as well? So once again, whatever license you're using today with ProRAE Guardian, if it can see 8 instruments today, then when you get your new license key for Safety Suite Responder, you'll still be able to see those 8 instruments. If you need to expand the number of instruments, then of course you could place a purchase to expand the number of meters you can see with your new license key. And as of today, April 2022, those license keys are $100 per year per meter. Great question. Thanks for that. And then, yes, again, just confirming price per meter is around $100 a year, give or take. Absolutely. $100. Again, this is being recorded in April 2022. The price today is $100 per meter. Again, no more tiers, no more tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. The one license communicates with any wireless instrument that's set to active status in Safety Suite Responder. And then that'll be an annual subscription cost. And once again, if you do a 5-year subscription all up front, you actually get a 15% discount off of that. Again, prices as of April 2022, which would take that price down to $85 per meter. What else do we have? When is Safety Suite Responder available? It is available now. We've been using it. If you have all of your ducks in a row, meaning you have the computer with the hardware specifications that we talked about in this webinar, you could send that email to Honeywell today with your current ProRAE Guardian product key. And within 72 hours, they say they'll exchange that for a Safety Suite Responder key. And then very important, once you've done that, you have 10 days to make the transition on your local computer, because after the 10 days, your ProRAE Guardian will stop working. And then if memory becomes an issue, is there an option available down the line to transition to the cloud at that point? I believe so. I think I read some data that says if you start with an on-premise installation and decide to jump to cloud, you can certainly do that. But as with some of the other details I mentioned, that'd be a one-way decision. Once you're on cloud, you can't then go back to being an on-premise installation with that account. You could certainly start up a whole new license key with a different name and email, and then have that set as on-prem. But once an on-premises installation goes to cloud, that's a one-way path, and you won't be able to convert back. Just like you can't convert a Safety Suite Responder exchange back to ProRAE Guardian. Once you've made that decision to change, that decision is locked in. Yes. All right. All the questions. Well, again, I just can't tell you how grateful we are that so many people joined us on this call today. We really wanted to put some emphasis on this transition, namely because June 30 is just around the corner. I can't believe how fast time is going. And we wanted this information in front of you so you can make a good decision for your agency and save a lot of money. 5 years no cost is a pretty enticing deal. And this is the path Honeywell is on. A lot of new features. Should give you a lot more flexibility moving forward. And so we do recommend it for our first responder customers. But again, it is not mandatory. If you decide to stay on Guardian, that is certainly your choice. So thank you again for joining us. We greatly appreciate our customers. Anyone that hasn't worked with us before, we feel you'll be pleasantly surprised with our quick service and our attention to detail. So thanks again for joining us. Please reach out to us through those email addresses or through our website. We're certainly happy to help you. And thank you everyone for your service to your communities. We really appreciate what you do. Thanks so much.